All right. Good evening, everyone. I am Mayor Shelley Carlson, and today's date is May 22nd, 2023, and it's 5:30 p.m. Moorhead City Council welcomes public input on issues listed on the agenda or of general community interest, time and council permitting. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes each. If you would like to address the council during the meeting, please fill out a form provided by the city clerk, and we will call you up during the citizens addressing council. If comments were submitted to the clerk prior to the meeting via email or phone, those comments will be entered into record. For more information on participation, please visit the council meetings page on the City of Moorhead website at cityofmoorhead.com. We, the Moorhead City Council, collectively and with gratitude, acknowledge the sacred land the City of Moorhead is built upon. We acknowledge the people who've resided here for generations and recognize that the spirit of the Dakota, Ojibwe, Métis, and all indigenous communities permeates this land. And with that, could I please get a roll call, please?
Ryan Nelson.
Here.
Matt Gilbertson. Heather Niesmeyer.
Here.
Laura Caroon. Deb White. Steve Lindos.
Here.
Larry Seljevold.
Here.
Chuck Hendrickson.
Here.
Mayor Shelley Carlson.
Here. And for those who are able, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. And City Manager Molly, do we have any agenda amendments?
No amendments to the agenda, Mayor.
All right, moving on to the consent agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Move to approve,
Chuck.
Niesmeyer. Second, Niesmeyer.
So Councilmember Hendrickson with the motion, Niesmeyer with the second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Same sign. Right. And moving on to recognitions and presentations. And today we are going to be reading a proclamation for Dr. Ann Blackhurst. So I know that I polled all of the council members, and I'm the only one who graduated from Moorhead State. So I'm the double dragon. So I am going, and I know that a number of council members work at MSUM, but since I'm the one who actually spent and provided a lot of money to, I'm sure, manicure a lawn or plant a flower or something like that, I am going to read this proclamation with a lot of gratitude and appreciation to Dr. Blackhurst. So this is an official proclamation of the City of Moorhead, State of Minnesota, whereas Dr. Ann Blackhurst has served Minnesota State University Moorhead as president since 2014 and is retiring effective June 30th, 2023. And whereas, quote unquote, President Ann led MSUM with vision and integrity, always placing student learning and growth at the forefront of her work. And whereas a $60 million capital campaign was successfully completed during her tenure, and whereas under President Ann's leadership, the university undertook and completed an intensive review of its academic programming that led to the expansion of graduate programs and enrollments, and whereas President Ann guided MSUM's development of a strategic framework that articulates the university's purpose, mission, core values, and strategic anchors, and whereas President Ann's engagement and leadership expanded beyond the MSUM campus, she has been an active and valuable community leader and excellent partner to the City of Moorhead. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that I, Shelley Carlson, in recognition of your commitment to the City of Moorhead, do hereby recognize May 23rd, 2023 as Dr. Ann Blackhurst Day on the occasion of your retirement and in recognition of your talents and contributions to the community. So, Dr. Blackhurst, congratulations and thank you. I'll meet you at the podium. Like I need to take my shirt off. I'll leave my shirt on. There you go. Yes, and it is in Dr. Blackhurst's honor that I'm wearing a dragon shirt tonight. Feel very comfortable in dragon colors too. Wear them for many years. All right, moving on to the approval of the May 8th, 2023 meeting minutes. Do I have a motion to approve the meeting minutes?
Seldvold moves.
Linda, second.
Seldvold and Lindas. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Same sign. Moving on to citizens addressing the council. Are there any citizens in the audience who wish to address the council at this time? Say it one more time. Are there any citizens in the audience who wish to address the council? All right, seeing none. Not do public hearing yet. So we will move on to 11D. And Brittany, I'll have you come to the podium to discuss community garden grants.
So good evening, Mayor and City Council. The resolution before you tonight is to approve 3 agreements relating to the 2023 Community Garden Grant. The grant is intended to support organizations and individuals who are starting or operating a community garden on private property to help fund things like seeds, garden beds, soil preparation, and eliminating or reducing membership fees. A total of 5 applications were received, but 1 was after the deadline and 1 was out of city limits. The 3 recipients proposed for a $500 grant are Brookdale Baptist Church, Grateful Community Garden, and Salem Evangelical Free Church. Staff are recommending approval of the 3 grants, and I'm available for any questions.
All right, thank you. And I should have said your full name, Brittany Cameron, Assistant City Planner. And with that, do I have a motion to approve this resolution?
So moved, Niesmeyer.
Linda will second.
Niesemeyer and then Lindas. Any questions or comments from council? Councilmember Niesemeyer.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I am just so excited to see this opportunity offered by the City of Moorhead. I know that we have made many strides moving ahead, but as our comprehensive plan, this was one of the elements that I saw our community sort of reach out and say that this was something that we were interested in doing. And this is just one first step in sort of making movement toward seeing what that looks like in Moorhead. And so I am so excited to see how this grant really takes shape through this growing season. I mean, it's already beautiful outside, and those gardens can really get going after we get these funds in those gardens' hands. And so I am terribly excited. Thank you for all of your work in making these grants happen. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Any other questions or comments from council? All right, seeing none, I have a motion and a second on the table. So all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, the resolution passes. Thank you, Brittany.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. And it is still not 5:45, which is the time that we could do the public hearing. So we will move on to 11E, which is a discussion of agreements related to the 2023 call for placemaking services. And Ms. Cameron, I believe this is you again.
So the resolution before you is to approve 2 agreements relating to the 2023 placemaking activities. The Economic Development Authority has funded unique experience marketing efforts that create new experiences, bring people to new places, and support events that bring people downtown to share experiences. There are 7 proposals submitted related to the call for placemaking services. A review team, which included members from the Economic Development Authority, Arts and Culture Commission, Downtown Moorhead, Inc., and Moorhead Parks and Recreation, reviewed and scored the applications. The Moorhead Arts and Culture Commission also unanimously recommended approval of the 2 placemaking activities before you. The recommended activities are a community building weekend build-a-thon submitted by Fargo Moorhead Community Theater and Moorhead Riverfront Magic, a night festival by Folkways. Staff are recommending approval of 2 agreements for these activities, and representatives from both groups are available to provide additional details and answer any questions.
All right, thank you, Ms. Cameron. And with that, I would be looking for a motion to approve this agreement.
Lindas will move
Second.
approval.
Second, Hendrickson.
Lindas with the motion, Hendrickson with the second. Questions or comments? And I saw Councilmember Gilbertson first, and then Councilmember Naismeier.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. Be great if we could get some more information on the process, what they're planning on doing. Is it 20,000 up front? Is it, is this the first year that it's been done?
So this is the first year that the placemaking services call has been issued. Last year, we did issue the call for activation. So kind of a similar type of project. The payments would be split into two parts. One at the beginning at agreement execution, and then one once the project is finished.
Councilmember Naismeier.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I have just a quick request. If for those who are streaming while making dinner or washing dishes or watching later, if we could have those who are here just give a brief sort of nugget of what they plan to do with these funds and how it's going to make placemaking a thing in Moorhead. I would sincerely appreciate it for those who are viewing and are really interested in how these funds for the city are really going to be used.
Sure.
And I believe there is a representative from FMCT here and also from Folkways. So I don't know if you both would like to just come up and kind of give a short synopsis of what you're planning to do with the funding. That would be fantastic. And when you come to the podium, if you can just state your name and the organization you're with. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Anna Can, and I am with FMCT. I am the technical director, and official title is Magic Maker. We have submitted an application for our event, community building event of a weekend build-a-thon, where we would have a 3-day summer event where we have community members come and help build and install local art installation pieces to activate parts of Moorhead's downtown. And it would bring together community members to come and be a part of the building and have get excited about the new stuff that's happening in the downtown area.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Simone from Folkways, and we submitted our proposal for a free community event that would take place near the riverfront in kind of downtown Moorhead area. And we really imagine this event to be, like I said, free, family-friendly, really just get the community together in a place that is not usually centered around for events in the Fargo-Moorhead area. And with the money that is given by the committee, we want to just emphasize the fact that these kind of free events really aren't possible without community support, without sponsorship, without city support, because if they were, everyone would be doing them if they were financially viable. But it is really just a celebration for the community when we want everyone to be able to access it, and therefore we want it to be able to be open to the community. So we're excited to bring everyone together on the river and see what we can do in Moorhead. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Other questions or comments from council? All right, seeing none, I have a motion and a second on the table. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Same sign. All right, the motion carries. So looking forward to both of those events. I want to have a title and a job someday where I can be called a magic maker. That would be really fun. I also really appreciate that the event being put on by Folkways happens to be on my birthday, so I'm just going to pretend that it's going to be a party for me. Thank you. And
I believe the birthday person has to bring the cake to the event. Or pie.
Well, everyone will get a nugget because probably don't want to eat anything I bake. So
You don't want to feed thousands of people at an open event?
Yeah. All right, now the clock has turned 5:45, so we can go back to 9A, which will be a public hearing. for special assessments of the 2022 unpaid administrative penalties and abatements. So do I have a motion to open the public hearing?
So moved, Deb White. Second, Niesmeyer.
So Deb White with the motion, Niesmeyer second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the public hearing portion of this agenda item is open, and I'll turn this over to our Director of Planning, Christy Leszewski.
Thank you. The request before the council tonight is to hold a public hearing, and staff is recommending approval of special assessments related to unpaid administrative penalties and other maintenance actions throughout the city from 2022. The assessments tonight relate to property maintenance, rental registration, tree removals, and sanitation billings from 2022 that remain unpaid. There were a total of 73 properties that were noticed, and all of these assessments are proposed to be a 1-year repayment with the exception of petitioned tree removals, which are a 5-year repayment. I just want to touch really briefly on assessments as it relates to property maintenance and our process related to property maintenance. The city does operate an administrative citation and penalty system, which was approved by the Clay County District Court in 2004 and has been utilized by the city of Moorhead since 2005. The process includes a contact is usually made by someone in the community. We send out a code compliance inspector. If the complaint is verified, a letter or a placard is sent to the property owner. On average, 95% or more of the code compliance violations that we get are taken care of by the property owner with no follow-up. But if the property owner does not follow up, they may receive a $100 fine, or if grass or snow is abated, they also receive the $100 fine plus the contractor cost for that removal. Before the hearing tonight, the property owners would have received multiple invoices related to the penalties, abatement, and other charges. I do want to also note that our goal is not to fine, our goal is compliance. So if you are a property owner and you receive one of these letters and you do have some timeline issues, we're happy to work with property owners just to make sure that, again, our #1 goal is compliance with whatever is out of the code violation. We did receive 4 requests prior to the hearing related to considerations related to the assessment. Those are on page 9. They were all 4 reviewed and all 4 were adjusted to remove those. And the resolution before council tonight following the public hearing, again, is to approve the special assessments related to the unpaid administrative penalties and maintenance actions from 2022.
All right, thank you, Ms. Leszewski. Are there any members in the audience who wish to comment during the public hearing? Seeing none, I would be looking for a motion to close the public hearing portion of this agenda item.
So moved, Deb White. Second, Niesmeyer.
White and Niesmeyer, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Same sign. And the public hearing portion of this agenda item is closed. So now I would be looking for a motion to consider adoption of special assessments for the 2022 unpaid administrative penalties and abatements.
So moved.
Second.
We have Gilbertson with the motion and Councilmember Lindas with the second. Any questions or comments from council? Councilmember Lindas.
Thank you, Mayor. Director Leszewski, I guess one of the questions I have is if we have tools in place to deal with potentially properties that we continually having to go back to and visit. So I should have sent you this message ahead of time, but so do you have enough tools in your quiver to be able to deal with those?
So currently, there's a few things that we've done. One was this year, actually, we hired an intern that works primarily in neighborhood services, which has been a great help because it does require a lot of, checking the initial action, going back, making sure it's okay. If it's not okay, issuing the fine, setting another compliance date, fining again. So there is a lot of time spent on these issues. So the intern, Ethan, has been a huge help to us. And then secondly, we've also been working with the GIS manager in engineering. He has set up a mapping system for us so that he can track the properties that have issues and multiple issues so that we can attempt to try and go back to those properties if there's continuing issues without a person from the neighborhood having to call. So we've been utilizing that as well.
That takes a lot more resource for the city. And so, is there a mechanism in place so that if we are having multiple callbacks, year after year, I guess is, I can see that, in year to year, we seem to take care of it. But if it seems to be an ongoing issue, do we have a mechanism in place to deal with what basically it's like, do we have to go back every year and tell someone to do X?
So it depends on the issue. So for example, if it's debris and junk in their yard, we will start with fines, but if it is not cleaned up, we do have the authority to hire a contractor to remove the debris and junk, and then the property owner would then be charged that fee.
Thank you.
Councilmember White.
Thank you. And I'll just let the mayor know, I have a second motion that I want to bring, and if you'd like, I can wait until we resolve this motion, but I just wanted to make sure we have time for that.
That would be the preference.
Then I will wait.
Any other questions or comments in regards to this motion? All right, seeing none, I have a motion and a second on the table. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Same sign. All right, and I'll turn it over back to you, Councilmember White.
Thank you, Mayor. And first of all, I want to thank Christy because I work with Christy a lot on these things, and she's so patient, and her staff has been so fantastic. And one of the things that I know many of you have heard me talk about is that a lot of the problems that we have are really a minority of property owners, but we have some folks that are just repeat offenders that are, and I think Christy's very generous in terms of, her discussion of the resources, because I know that the amount of time that our staff spends on a small number of people going after them over and over and over, the fees that we're charging right now, the penalties, don't come close to covering the amount of hours that, that we have to pay people to work on some of these things. And we've seen in the past, we've had residents who've come in and they're talking about some of these property maintenance issues in some of our older neighborhoods. And I can speak to that personally, that, when I looked at this list, there is a landlord on my street who owns 3 properties. 2 of them, once again, are on the list, and I can't think of a single year when that property owner wasn't on the list. And so it's every single year that and I know this was this gentleman who took a year for him to repair a very large hole in the roof when he still had people living in the house. So it's, it's dangerous for people, it's bad for the neighborhoods, and it's a waste of our resources. And in particular, we know that many of it is our rental units, because when I looked at my ward on the list, 70% of the violations were from non-owner occupied buildings, even though only 40% of housing in Moorhead is non-owner occupied. So again, we know where the problems are and we keep hearing about it. So after consulting with the city manager, I'd like to make a motion to direct the city manager to make property maintenance and retail housing standards and compliance a priority in our budget planning process this summer, as well as to explore new and/or enhanced penalties that include but are not limited to revocation of rental licenses. And really the purpose of this is to give our staff the tools and the resources that they need to address this problem that has been really an ongoing issue of great concern to many people in our community. So that is my motion.
I have a motion on the table. Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
A motion and a second. Questions and comments? Councilmember Gilbertson.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. So the question would be, this only gets triggered if they're continually to be on the list?
And again, my motion is not enacting any change right now. It's saying over the summer, we're asking the city manager to look into how we could put this in our budget to get resources for staff to be able to work on some of this and even consider changing some of the policies. So it's really just a preliminary, directing our staff, our city manager, to look into the resources and the policies that we have and how we might add to that to work on addressing this issue. So I'm not asking for any policy changes or funding at this point. It's really more of a motion to direct our staff to begin that process.
Further questions or comments? Councilmember Niesmeyer.
So what I understand, Councilmember White, is your motion is addressing sort of what Councilmember Lindas was asking of Director Leshevsky earlier. Okay, so just to provide some context. For me, that's what I understood. So thank you very much for clarifying.
Any further questions or comments from council? All right, seeing none, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Same sign, motion carries. All right, moving on to the second public hearing of the night. Do I have a motion to open the public hearing?
So moved, Hendrickson.
Second, Niesmeyer.
Rickson and Niesemeyer, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Same sign, and the public hearing portion of this agenda item is open. I will turn it over to our Assistant City Engineer, Tom Trowbridge.
Thank you, Mayor and members of council. So this one is it's a pretty simple public hearing. It is trying to formally adopt special assessments for projects that were completed in some cases more than 20 years ago, some of them more recent than that, but these are areas that we've done improvements to service other development that it also benefited additional area. And now that that other area is being platted in accordance with the city policy, we'll bring those assessments current now. The city's been sitting on these and paying the bond with the general tax levy, and now the city gets to reimburse itself for the costs that we've incurred. And so this particular project, there were 679 letters sent out. It had 5 different property owners only, though. So it was a lot of different projects that got assessed to a smaller number of properties all total. There was 84 parcels and 5 different owners, as I said. Most of the notices went out for the Hampton Place 4th edition development. There's 62 lots there. It's all owned by one property owner yet. And we'll have a later assessment hearing when we complete those improvements, but that was platted last year. So in accordance with our policy, this is the next year, we're going to record those prior assessments on that. There were also several lots in the Horizon Shores area. It's a commercial addition. They've been platting one lot at a time. And so those were platted last year, and so we're bringing those current. And then the rest of it is actually, it's a city-owned area, Macara 5th edition. One lot of that has been sold. The other lots are still pending. We've got to finish the streets yet. One lot was a corner lot that had an existing road, so they're already going on it. It shows the interest in getting that one done. I will note that in reviewing this for tonight, I did notice we made one mistake with the Macara assessments, and that is Lot 3 of Block 1 is actually the city pond lot. We don't normally put assessments on that. Instead, what might be assessed to that, we spread on the other lots. And so what I will ask you to do with your resolution tonight is to reallocate the assessments that would have been to Lot 3 of Block 1 to the other 17 lots that are owned by the city out there. It'll change those assessments by a total of a little over $2,000. So it's not a major change on the overall assessments, but that way we'll get those assessments recovered. So if you need specific language on that, I can provide that.
Thank you, Mr. Trowbridge. Are there any members of the audience who wish to comment during the public hearing portion of this agenda item? Are there any members of the public who would wish to comment during this public hearing portion? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved, Deb White.
Second, Lindas.
Motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Same sign, and the public hearing is closed. Be looking for a motion to consider adoption for special assessments for public improvements for various construction projects.
Lindas will make that motion with the modification that of Block 3, Lot 1 being split amongst the other legal lots in that Macara that close
That's
enough?
close. It was Lot 3, Block 1, but yes.
That explains why I was doing the math in my head and it didn't make sense. Oh, absolutely. Now it totally makes sense. Yes, Block 1, Lot 3.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second, Nelson.
Okay, Lindas and Nelson with the motion and the second. Any comments or questions by council members? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Same sign, and that motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Trowbridge. All right, moving on to mayor and council reports. Are there any, right? Miss anything, did I? Are there any council members who have reports? Councilmember White.
Thank you, Mayor. I have a couple of updates. I wanted to let people know about Juneteenth, and first of all, you should have seen an email from our city manager. We're looking for volunteers. So for Juneteenth this year, City of Moorhead is collaborating with City of Fargo and some of the other surrounding communities. And there will be two events. There'll be on the 17th, there'll be a celebration in Fargo, but on the 19th, on the actual day of Juneteenth, we will have an event here. It will be an film and arts festival here in this building in the evening, and they are looking for volunteers. And we will be also giving out an award in honor of Destiny Holiday, who passed away and was one of our Moorheart winners and was the person who began the first Juneteenth celebration in Moorhead. And so please look for that call for nominations and distribute that to folks who you think should be recipients of that award. I wanted to mention also that I attended one of our Red River Recovery Initiatives, and that's the Coordinated Opioid Overdose Response Team. And one of the really encouraging things that they are talking about is a mobile mental health and substance use crisis response team. And I know we'll be hearing more about this, but the really encouraging thing is how this can be used to really alleviate some of the pressure on our law enforcement, who are often sort of the go-to for all of these responses. And again, it takes up a tremendous amount of their time when we're already short-staffed, and we could respond in better ways. And I also wanted to mention that Councilmember Seljevold and I will be bringing back the Coffee with Council members, and so we've missed those and really wanted to see them happen. I think it's an important way for us to engage with our constituents, and so we have Gooseberry Park reserved on July 11th at 6 p.m. and we'll be posting information about that, but encourage other council members to do that if you wish to do that as well. But we plan to begin doing this on a regular basis again. Thank you.
Any other council members have reports? Councilmember Lindas.
Thank you, Mayor. Councilmember White and myself were part of the Inclusive Moorhead event that occurred yesterday. It was a great afternoon of fun, food, fun, fellowship, and community building, as all those are. And the Inclusive Moorhead is the social equity growth outcome from the Resilient Moorhead group that has been working and moving into sort of what I would call sustainability mode, where they're trying to figure out the next steps to create a more self-sustaining organization that works on that social equity piece of the Resilient Moorhead. And so Inclusive Moorhead is open to anyone and everyone. It is family friendly. There's toys for kids to play with, so while the adults are doing boring adult stuff, the kids can do fun things. And they are looking for people. They have a bunch of different tasks. One of them is working on Juneteenth celebration, but there's a bunch of other tasks, and especially moving the governance of that into the next phase, essentially. So if you are interested in any of the Resilient Moorhead board, but explicitly Inclusive Moorhead, please contact me or Councilmember White or probably other people, and we can get you the information that you would need to become involved.
Thank you, Councilmember Lindas. Any other? Councilmember Niesemeyer, and then Nelson, and then Gilbertson.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I had the wonderful opportunity to take part in the City of Moorhead litter pickup event that started in Romkey Park and took place in the surrounding area. And We had a wonderful turnout from our community members from all ages, all abilities, sort of pitching in together to make our community just shine. And it was outstanding. There are a bunch of events. There was burdock pulling as well last week. And so I just want to thank the City of Moorhead staff for putting together those wonderful events. I also had the opportunity to make a bee house and plant some liatris and butterfly swampweed or milkweed. Oh, I forgot. So many fun City of Moorhead events the last 2 weeks. It was just so exciting. And so I wanted to thank the City of Moorhead staff and tell people to follow them on Facebook there and sign up for what's the E word? Help me, City Manager.
E-notifications?
E-notifications, and look for events on the City of Moorhead website because there are tons of things going on for the City of Moorhead and wonderful events happening throughout the summer. And I sincerely encourage all of our citizens to get out and participate in those wonderful events. Other things that I was able to attend and interact with, the Clay County Collaborative is meeting not once but twice this month so we can get our annual budget situated for the upcoming collaborative initiatives and funds that we get. And the impact that we have is to keep kids away from harm and out of the system. And I think also we will be able to hire a new executive director for the Clay County Collaborative. If you're not familiar with the Clay County Collaborative, I highly recommend that you Google. They have dozens of programs throughout Clay County and many within the City of Moorhead that impact families and children that are really impactful. Also, the Partnership for Health Regional Food System Survey was mentioned 2 weeks ago, but it's still available. As part of the ability to be able to interact with food systems and how they impact our families, our individuals, our homes, it's important for you to interact. And so it's Partnership for, the number 4, Health. And so I encourage everybody who's in the audience, as well as City Council members, and neighbors who are streaming this online to really take time and fill out that survey because your insights will mean so much in this survey in programming and impact moving forward. The last item is at the Cass Clay Food Commission last week. I got to see for the first time the impact of gleaning in reducing food insecurity, which is a new video from the Cass Clay Food Partners. And so I highly encourage people to check it out on YouTube. It's available on the Cass Clay Food Partners website. A lot of people aren't familiar with what gleaning is. And because we're such an agricultural community, but we have lots of gardens, farmers, a variety of things, gleaning is really important for our community to participate in to help break some of the cycles of food insecurity for many of our people. And it really impacts a great number of our families in Moorhead. And so that gleaning video, it's a short 3-minute video, and it really can show you how our communities, our food raisers, our agriculture individuals are impacting our families in Moorhead. And you can help by volunteering and gleaning in our community. So check it out and enjoy the video.
Right, thank you, Councilmember Neesemeyer. Councilmember Nelson.
Thank you, Mayor. Just 2 quick updates. Attended Red River Regional Dispatch Authority board meeting recently. You probably heard in the news we selected a site for the new regional dispatch center. Yeah, I think Mayor Carlson gave the update at one of the previous meetings that the Sanford location fell through. So we selected a new site that's near the Public Safety Center up in North Fargo. So that'll be the site that we plan to proceed with. And also are proceeding with some more formalized schematic drawings. So right now we just kind of have some preliminary drawings. So hopefully we can get the, the cost of that facility down a little bit. So we'll see some more of that here over the summer months, and hopefully keep moving forward in that project. So that's the big news on that site. And then on Moorhead Community Access Media, we are hoping to be in our new facility, new location, not new facility, by now, but it's been a little bit delayed, but sometime this summer we hope to be moving in there. So I'm thinking we're kind of hearing about middle of the summer, hopefully July, we'll have our meeting down there. So I'm sure there'll be an invite and information for staff and council to go and see their new location if you want to. So that's where we're at with those two committees. That's all I have.
All right, thank you, Councilmember Nelson. Councilmember Gilbertson.
Thanks, Matt. You okay? You okay? You okay? Thanks, Madam Mayor. Two updates from Moorhead Public Service. They're suggesting voluntary watering rules. It's not mandatory, it's voluntary. If your house ends in an even number, water on even days. If your house odd number, water on odd days. Obviously, there's exceptions, new grass, those kinds of things. It's voluntary at this point. And also an update from the Minnesota Department of Commerce regarding the Low-Income Home Energy Assistance Program. It helps pay home heating costs and furnace repairs for income-qualified households. The program is free, provides benefits up to $1,400, additional support to respond to emergencies. It's available for both renters and homeowners. The changes they made in March was it went from a 50% state median income to 60% of the state median income. And now the crisis funds available for approved applicants are now up to $3,000 in addition to their normal primary.
All right, any other council members have reports? All right, seeing none, for mayor update, last 2 weeks, I was on a panel discussion of mayors at the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers who held their annual meeting, actually at Concordia College. It was one of the first times it's been held outside of Washington, D.C., and we had a number of very high-ranking individuals from across the United States and quite frankly across the world. Lieutenant General Scott Spellman, Major General Diana Holland, and Colonel Eric Swenson were all in attendance. We were able to talk about kind of how the public responds to flooding, how the communities work together, and I know that our city engineer was also part of a panel of engineers that were asked very specific questions in regards to the diversion project. I also attended the Missouri River Services annual meeting in Sioux Falls, South Dakota last week and participated in the Ambassador Luncheon. There's information presented regarding renewables, hydrocarbons, and the future of the electric grid, rethinking reliability, and an update from the Western Area Power Administration. There's also a reception held in the evening to recognize outgoing President and CEO Tom Heller, who joined MRES in 1992. And it was really serendipitous that I was actually in attendance. This was my first time attending a meeting with MRES because there was a lot of accolades given to Moorhead Public Service and the fact that Tom Heller had started with Moorhead Public Service and really gave a lot of kudos to that entity for kind of teaching him about electric services and the power of serving the public. So it was really fantastic to meet him and hear the great things about Moorhead. Also attended a groundbreaking for the new First Community Credit Union. They are starting that build off of 34th Street, and I think it's going to be a great anchor for a lot of other development that will happen off of 34th Street in that part of Moorhead. And then I also participated on the panel put on by the U.S. Department of Justice that was coordinated with North Dakota U.S. Attorney General's Office, protecting places of worship. And that is all I have for my mayor updates. Turn it over to you, City Manager Molly.
Thank you, Mayor. A couple updates. One is the City of Moorhead's permit guide. So the city's development team recently launched an online permit guide that provides information on how to complete any number of projects. If you can imagine all the different permits and licensings and all these different requirements. So you'd put your name in the project you're kind of working on, and or if you're building a shed or you want a pool in your yard or you've got some kind of addition, all of that kind of thing. It's really pretty neat in its simplicity in that it just offers certainty and helps people who are taking on some, it can be kind of stressful projects when they're just these things, home projects, they can disrupt lives and things like that. To help manage expectation and get everybody to a yes quicker. So I'm really excited to roll that out. So If folks would like to, it's linked on the front page of the city's website, cityofmoorhead.com, or you can go to the building codes, planning, zoning pages, and take a look, put your information, see how it works. This is the time of year for that. So, and it helps streamline things too. It's really interesting. There's so many fewer people that come in to get permits. It's all happening online, and so it's really, really excellent. Considering that people have to go to the 4th floor of City Hall to get that permit. That is a pain. I know. So the next update is the city, or this year's legislative session in Minnesota wraps up tonight. So lots has been happening. I want to offer just a real brief status update on the city's legislative priorities. Before I get into it, Governmental Affairs Director Lisa Bodie sitting right here. Thanks for all of your efforts. And to our legislative work group and the whole city council that has just helped communicate and keep information moving along. There's going to be a lot after midnight tonight that we'll be learning and analyzing related to information and what things look like. So there'll be a kind of a deeper, more full update, of course, at our next council meeting on June 12th. But there's been just so much happening. I figured let's just talk about it now. So the tax bill has been approved. Specific to Moorhead, it includes a sales tax exemption for the community center and regional library, which is expected to save approximately $1 million from construction costs on that project. So that's a big win. Local government aid has increased in this legislative session, which is estimated to be at about $900,000 this year for Moorhead. That is going to have significant budget implications here that we'll be working through this summer. And then there is this one-time aid in public safety, which is we're going to be learning a lot more about, and we'll be bringing to the city council as far as where that will be going. A significant amount. I believe it's $300 million. And if you've parsed that out into what Moorhead's share is, that's going to be something that the city hasn't seen before. There's $10 million within the transportation bill for the 11th Street underpass to cover what we're calling the inflation gap. This one happened because, was it just persistence and timing? And well, lots of things happened, conversations that just kind of went along. So that is within the transportation bill that's approved. And we're awaiting bonding bill details related to flood mitigation. So Moorhead's request is $24 million to complete our final five projects. Previous bills have included $11 million specific to Moorhead's flood needs. We were shooting. We'll see. We'll know more. Things are still happening, and so we're excited. So specific to that legislative agenda, there's all sorts of other state policy changes that impact Moorhead as a city, its residents, its businesses, and that sort of things. We've been working with the Coalition of Greater Minnesota Cities on many of these matters related to, it could be lead lines, wastewater, clean water, PFAS, plastic, permanent. There's a lot happening. So we'll have a full update, but keep your eyes open that it ends tonight at midnight, which that's all I have to say about that. Thank you, Mayor.
All right. Thank you, City Manager Molly. And we do have an executive session tonight, so I'd be looking for a motion to go into closed executive session pursuant to Minnesota Statute Section 13D.05, Subdivision 3C3, for an update and direction regarding the property at 58.520.4100 owned by the city. I have a motion to go into executive session.
So moved, Nelson.
Second, Niesmeyer.
A motion with Nelson and a second with Niesmeyer. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Same sign. We are now in executive session. Jeez. All right, it is 7:22. We are back from executive session and are done with that item on the agenda. Is there any new business, City Manager Molly?
There is no new business, Mayor.
All right, and with that, we are adjourned, 7:23. Night, Moorhead.